So here we are, guys. We are here to break down some very important numbers. Since we're halfway through the year in 2023, we have collected some of the agents from our team to talk with you about what we feel are the very important statistics. And not only did we pull them from this year, but we took a look back 6 years just to compare where we are now compared to where we were and how we got there. Because a lot of times, if you're in the market looking for a house, you're in it and you're just kind of in that full speed motion of it. However, if you are not in the market, you may be hearing a lot of these headlines, but you don't understand the data behind it. So that's why we're here to unpack it for you. And here along with me, I have Terry Kippen, Kristen Riley, and Jim Lyman. And without further ado, let's jump into this.
Mike, I think something you said is very important. Is that if you're in the market today, you may have not been paying attention to the market the last 6 years, and we've discovered some very interesting facts, and the numbers don't lie.
Right. The numbers we're going to be covering is new listings, contracts, closings, average days on market, the average sale prices, and the sold volume. And there's some takeaways from all these, right? As we look through the starting in 2018, there was 9,200 new listings to hit the market. In 2019, we saw just over 10,000. In 2020, that number came down to 8,500. 2021, it comes down to 77, just under 7,800. Now, the important thing with that is that was just when COVID hit. So from March to May, those new listing counts were basically nothing. And then 2022, that new listing count jumped or went only to 6,200. And this year, we've only seen 48, just under 4,900 new listings, which is 47% less than what we saw, for example, in 2019.
And almost less than half of what we saw in 2018 prior to the pandemic.
Right.
So we're taking into account the pandemic numbers, but if you go to 2018, before the world came to a stop, the numbers are kind of scary.
Well, and that's and look at we're in the market every day, right? And you're talking to people. It's like there's no new inventory, but do people realize? Do you think that when they say no new inventory, there's 47% less? That's a big number.
Correct.
You guys feeling that with your buyers? I mean, like, what would you say? Did you think that was? I mean, you didn't know this number to a T a week and a half ago. Did you think that was higher or lower?
The new listing count?
Yeah, that 47%.
I would say it's about what I would expect, based on, but I have a lot of buyers right now that just can't find what they're looking for, and that number kind of coincides with what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing was too, 6 months ago, there were certain price ranges where you just couldn't find anything.
Right.
And then there was other price ranges. If you went up higher, you could. Now you just can't find anything, or if you do find something, you're in a bidding war regardless of the list price.
Which is why, for all those people out there that are like, the market's going to crash. It's like, no, it isn't.
The market isn't crashing.
It simply can't, right? Based off of that.
We have people that are using real estate as an investment. They're taking money out of 401ks, wherever they have it, to use as an investment. I don't know how many times I go with somebody and then they say, well, we're looking for a rental. Okay. And then I have a handful of more than clients that need a place to live. I mean, there's a housing shortage. It doesn't seem like there's a lack of money, and it doesn't seem as if really the rates have affected anything. I think the rates affect the sellers. They don't want to give up. If they're a new buyer in the last 3 years, they got a great rate. If they've been in their home for a period of time, or they don't even have a mortgage, they don't want to sell because they don't want to go out and take on a higher rate mortgage. That's where I see the rates affecting it. But they don't realize the equity they're sitting on either.
Correct.
Either they're a 3-year buyer or a 30-year buyer could take that money, absorb the cost of a higher rate, and then when the rates go down, eventually refinance.
Right. And the rates right now are outrageous. They're actually the average that they've been. When my husband and I purchased our home, we paid 6%.
Historically speaking, right?
Historically speaking.
And here's the other argument. What if they never went down to 3%? Where would we be then?
Well, they may never go down.
Well, I
they
know
probably
but
won't.
I'm saying
if they
myself,
hadn't.
what if they didn't? You know what I mean? Like, what would have? It would have been very interesting to see. Would we be in a different spot? I don't know.
Well, nothing would have changed. People still need homes.
Well, here's the one thing. There's one argument out there that we stole the deals 2 years ago from today. Like, because 2 years ago, people were moving that weren't ready to move because they didn't have to. But they're like, wait, this is an opportunity. I can refinance and get the same payment. So basically, we stole the deal, and we'll get to those numbers in the terms of the contracts, but we stole those deals, and actually we could segue into that 2 years ago. You know?
That makes sense.
Here's another thing that's interesting, and I heard this from one of my mentors. He said, what if and he was more or less talking about like maybe 12 months ago. What if we were in a buyer's market? Meaning prices are going to go up, right? And the person that has a house today is going to have more equity, considerably more, in the next 2-3 years, because a lot of economists are forecasting that. What if that's the case? What if we're in a buyer's market right now? Wouldn't that be, like, we don't think we are because we're in it, but maybe we are. 3 years from now, we look back and say, shoot, man, in 2023, that was a buyer's market. That would be kind of interesting.
That would be interesting.
You know?
So you mean like seeing the like the average sold price would be lower in the future years, like lower from what we're seeing right now?
Yes. Yeah, so, no, I'm saying right now,
We look back.
you're gaining more equity, and maybe this market continues to be tight because here's the other thing: new builds aren't happening, rent's not going down, and people are sitting on 2%, 3%, 4% interest rates for the past 4 years. So those people aren't like looking to get in the market. So where's the inventory come from? So maybe this market stays the way it is for the next 3 years, and 3 years from now, the person who bought a house for $500,000, that house is worth $625,000. And that's what I mean by a look back, saying that was the buyer's market opportunity. You know, you
That's a
earned
strong
home.
potential because it's what we've seen in the past 3 years.
Right.
Right.
People that bought in the last 3 years have gained a lot of equity quickly.
Right.
Exactly.
The fear of, even if they need to expand, life changes, you have more kids, whatever, they're now worried that they have a 2.75 and they're going to go look at a 6.25.
Right.
We need to educate them on that's okay.
Right.
Because the 2.75 was a freak thing.
COVID blip.
Exactly.
Well, and any younger person out there who doesn't own a home yet, I've been encouraging them to get yourself into a position where you qualify for a loan. And let's explore that, and I can help you with that, because there is no reason why anybody that has a solid job shouldn't be investing in real estate, because it's practically the safest investment out there.
Not when you're, and especially now when you're spending $2,000 for a 2-bedroom somewhere,
Correct.
you know?
And I see it all over Facebook, and people sharing a term all the time that the interest rate on rent is 100%.
Right.
So when
Yeah.
that's the best way you can put it.
There's
you know,
no
you're-
equity on rent.
There's no equity, and I have that when people are on the fence about buying versus renting. That's the conversation I have with them: is you're wasting 25, 30,000 plus a year when you could be paying equity down on a home.
Yeah. Let's jump at, so the second figure, which is this is where things get pretty intense. So new contracts, this for the first 6 months of this year, we were just under 3,500. So for the previous 4 years, we averaged about 4,400, which puts us 28% down, which again wasn't as high as the 47% we saw for the new listing count. And we feel that the reason that's a little closer is because more homes are selling versus when new listings came out in previous years. Sometimes they sat, sometimes they expired, sometimes they just didn't sell, whereas more things are selling now
Right.
because there's less available. Simple, supply and demand. The closings, this is where we were talking about this earlier, and that right now we had 2,900 closings the first 6 months of the year, and that's down 31% from 2021, and it's down 23% from 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's where the attorneys, the loan officers, the agents, home inspectors, all these people that are affiliated. I mean, I talked to a friend of mine who owns a furniture store here. They're feeling it, right? Home Depot's feeling it. All these different, because every time a house sells, all these different occupations
Well, it drives the market.
get, you're
Right.
the ripple
Drives
effect
GDP.
Yeah.
And not to mention the people that, with the competitive nature of the market, there's people waiving inspections and
Right.
people
Right.
paying cash. So that's going to affect the mortgages and the home inspectors that aren't going to be getting the business from the people waiving them.
Yeah. I
Yep.
didn't think about that actually. Yeah. So the average days on market, historically speaking, the average is really like 2 months, right?
Right, and they're going much quicker.
45% less. 30. So the average days on market is down to 34 days, which again is 45% less than the national, the historical average.
Yep.
That seems like a high number. If you're paying attention to the market right now, you're seeing houses come on, you're seeing them go off. So to you, that may seem like a high number, but you got to take into consideration that's all the listings, new construction,
Well, and also, Mike, you got to look at the years 2019. Well, right from the beginning, 18 right up through, we had more houses.
Right.
If you add more houses into the pool,
True.
that's going to extend that.
Right.
We have less houses, and they're even staying on less days on the market. I mean, there are some that linger for God don't know, you can't figure out a reason, and there's other ones that go in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And they're not to use specific, but just this week, there was one for $150. People were still moving out, so Tuesday was kind of off the chart, and then this morning, it's best and final by Thursday at noon. Well, who got in to see it? And you know what I mean? I mean, people are making offers sight unseen again.
I'd say especially at that price point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
but
150,000.
yeah,
And the
But-
people that aren't used to the market from previous years, they see a listing, they reach out to me, they see a listing that's been on the market 45 days and they're like, what's wrong with this?
Right.
Right.
Because they're used to seeing that, week or two or that 34 that we've been seeing the average for the
well, that's
first
a
half.
good point. I think that's for agents. We need to do a better job because I have one that was on, off in 24 hours because the person wanted this to look at it, got the husband involved. The husband wanted to make the move on it. 2 days later, the wife was giving him a hard time. I said, get out now. Don't stop me, Went on. Again, it was an inspection issue. 3 things we identified. Took them too long to get the estimates. Give me a release. Put it back on. Revealed the 3 issues. We're willing to give an X amount of dollars for credit.
Yeah.
Up front, go look at it, make an offer, fine. And then it became a money grab on the buy side. My estimates weren't good enough. They wanted to almost triple them to get money off the cost of the house. So again, it's back out there. The 3 issues have been identified, revealed. Let's get them fixed and move on. But I mean, right now, holding every deal together is almost, whether it's just ignorance and stupid stuff like a lawyer sends over a thing for a roof request when we just dealt with that and there's nothing wrong with the roof. Nobody's communicating, but now my sellers are panicking this morning. It's just little bombs going off. It's very hard to keep something together, and that old saying, it's not over till the fat lady sings. Until you walk out of that closing room, it ain't over.
Well, there's a lot of tension in this, and people are wondering,
That's what
did
I
they
was
make
gonna say,
decisions?
yeah.
So it's
That's
in a
part of
tight
our
market.
business too. I mean, real estate revolves around big emotional issues, big feelings, big changes in life, and
Financial.
But it always
financial
has.
decision. Right.
But in 21 and 22, it was like being at a craps table. They were just throwing the money down, let's go.
Yeah.
One, move on to the next one. It's changed. It's not that right now.
Let's look at the average sale price, right? So back in 2018, the average sale price for and by the way, these are for the 4 major counties, which is really what we deal with here. That was $213,000. In 2023, that average sale price is $282,000, which is 32% higher. All right. So think about that. You're a 24-year-old kid. You bought your first house for $213,000, and now you got an extra $70,000 equity. You're excited about that, And you also, by the way, paid that down to probably, close to 200 grand. So you got about 82 grand worth of equity. You're taking that money excited because you got a check you can put down a new house. Maybe your life's changed. And now those are the people that are looking to make a move.
Right.
And they're also the ones that probably aren't as affected by the rate because back in 2018, you were probably still at 4.5, So those are the people that are actually maybe most excited about this market because of the equity that they've earned.
Right.
How many of those people have we helped resell from 2017, 18, 19?
Correct.
It feels like a lot of them.
I have one going on the market hopefully next week in Troy, and that one they purchased at 160, and they're probably gonna clear 240, 250.
There you go.
Yep.
So the one thing here, when we look at prices go up, right, and units go down, it's no surprise that the sold volume is going to close the gap on the number of contracts. So if the contracts was, if we were down 28% in contracts, but we're only down in volume by 19%, it's because the prices are higher, which is giving us more volume, right? So we've closed the gap on that a little bit. And the first half of this year is just over 1.3 billion in terms of sold volume for those 4 counties, which again in 2021 we made a huge jump from 2020 to 2021. That was by was that 600 million?
Yeah.
All right, and then it goes up another 50 million, and now it's down 300 million. And again, these are big numbers, but we're talking about the total sold volume of all the properties sold. So again,
What that means for the sellers out there or potential sellers is that there's still a market for your house at a higher rate. So there's less inventory.
Yeah.
So your house is going to be shown, exposed to more people, more potential buyers at a higher price.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. As we wrap up here, you guys got any final thoughts or anything you'd like to kind of add to what we're talking about here?
Well, as a gal that grew up in the real estate business, like you did, overall, real estate is the number one solid investment you can make.
Yeah.
Period. So I would advise, especially young people, don't pay rent. If you can get qualified, let us help you navigate it.
Not too many times you've seen people go to the closing table bringing a check to get out of their house, right?
Even ones that, like I want now, it's almost a year and 2 weeks to the date. Lifestyles have changed. The house is going on the market. We're going to do our best to make sure that they walk away even.
Yep.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's where they're at. They have to sell the house. But, that's the other thing. I mean, if you have any questions or concerns about anything we've talked about, always feel free to give any of us a call. I know I'm always available.
We don't charge for inquiries, right?
Showings are free and information is free. Love to have a chat. Love to list your house. That would help us bring these numbers up. That's what
Correct.
we need.
For sure.
And anybody that's, afraid of the interest rates right now, they're not going away anytime soon. So
Prices and interest rates are here to stay. We talk about it a lot.
And I think the market that we saw with the interest rates back in 2020, 21, even, early part of 2022 was kind of a, like you said, kind of a freak thing. Not something that anybody that's anticipating that the rates are going to go back to 3, don't count on it. So
It's not foreseeable right now.
yeah, I mean, the biggest number I think here to walk away with is the, average sale price being up. That's, pointing to the equity that people have. So, those are the things that you kind of have to focus on, and the days on market being down. So, if you're looking to sell your house, you could potentially get the most equity now and use that to put towards something else. So to offset the, the higher interest rates.
Long term, that's good advice.
Yeah.
If you guys have questions on the market, reach out to any one of these 3. They'll take good care of you, and you won't find anybody that knows this business better. So thanks for tuning in, and thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.